Hi everyone, it is time to finish off our picture today. All the stages of this colouring are available on videos. The book is Menuet de Bonheur, and we are going to be doing a pastel background. Now the idea of this series was really just to show you and demonstrate different methods rather than assume that you were colouring along this book, which is why I did just this bunch of berries and not all of them, and just this bunch of berries and not all of them, just to demonstrate a technique so that you could use it somewhere that any way you wanted. And we'll do exactly the same with our background with the pastels. I will show you how I use them. I'll talk you through different techniques. Actually, I'm not going to demonstrate them all because I don't want to use them. Let's just move across a bit. So these are my Mungyo soft pastels. They're the only ones that I've tried apart from a really old set that I had. So I can't say whether they're good or bad or whatever. I find they work very well, and they are budget brand. So that's the first thing. They're quite small, as you can see, but it meant I got lots of colours for my money. Well, I didn't buy them. My mum bought them me. My mum and dad bought them me for a present, but these were the ones I chose because I wanted a nice range of colours. There are different ways. When I first started doing pastels, I would pick it up the pastel, which is quite messy, get it on your hand, and then scrape it with a knife onto the page, which I was always aware made a horrible noise on camera. Scrape it into the different areas and then rub it with a, I used to use cotton wool pad, like this sort of size of pad. Sorry, it's not very, it's a clean pad, it's been washed but it's just stained. A cotton wool one, a disposable one. This is a similar pad for makeup, but it is washable, so I feel they're better. And I get these from Superdrug, which is a pharmacy slash sells toiletries and things. I'm sure you can get them online or any sort of place that sells makeup, really. And so what I do with this, rather than scraping and then rubbing, which makes such a dust and mess, and even just picking one up, then it's on your hands, and you can smudge it everywhere, is to rub this onto the pastel and take some onto the cloth, then rub it on. And I find that's a much better way. Now, if you don't have these, you can use cotton wool. Now, cotton wool balls aren't good because it comes off. They're not a good sort of thing. But you could use a tissue, or you know, anything, an old bit of fabric, something like that, something which doesn't come off and isn't abrasive. You wouldn't want to use like microfiber or anything like that. Right, so you need to choose your colours for the background. Now what I tend to do is start with a little bit of a lighter colour and then build up. Now with this picture I'm thinking, are we looking through the, I'm thinking we're probably looking through the trees. I don't think we're going to necessarily see much sky. We might see little bits of it, but we might see leaves and berries and different things like that in a sort of blurred mess in the background. Hopefully it's not going to be a mess. But so what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to use a little bit of blue and do a few blue sky patches. And then maybe just go for sort of yellows and greens, maybe a few browns, oranges, probably not pinks, but taking colours from the picture. So the blues up here, I'm going to use this lightish blue, which I think is quite a good sky colour, having just through experience. I can't tell you which one it is if you've got this set, because I have dropped these several times and they're all out of order. I don't know whether every set comes in the right or in the same order anyway. So I'm taking a bit of blue and I'm just going to put it in here. Now pastel will just go on anything you touch it to, whether it's got pencil on it or not, which means that as you get close to the edge of something, you're very likely to actually turn it the colour that you're using. So that can be a little bit tricky. So it can be quite a good idea to use something like this to get into the edges. This is a, they don't sell these anymore in the shop I bought it from, annoyingly. It's a sort of makeup applicator disposable. It's got this end that looks a bit like a Q-tip and this end that's sort of flat. These are good. That one's dirty. I've used it for a different for a pan pastel, and I'm just keeping it in case I want to use it again with a pan pastel. So I can't use it for this, but that can get you into little corners and things. I'm going to do a little bit up here of blue as well. And the reason I've chosen up here is because this is quite a bluey green, so we can get away with it. And I'm going to put a bit here and I'm gonna then not do any more blue because it's quite difficult to I suppose we'd better do a bit up here where it's sort of the other side of the branch, or else it's going to look a little bit strange. I'm going to leave it there because blue is quite tricky. So if I use, say, a yellow here, I can go over the top of this and it won't really show. So do you see what I mean? So it's a little bit easier. So I'm going to do a few bits of yellow now, and we've only got two, a really light lemony one and a really, really bright one. Or we've got these more browny yellows. I'm going to use the lighter yellow. It's a bit dirty, so I'm going to take a bit on my cloth and then just swap to a different piece. And then do a few yellowy areas. You can see it on there. Now, I'm not going to do it right next to the blue. I suppose that wouldn't matter. It's going to go green, you see, but perhaps that's okay, because we're going to do some green anyway. It's gone green on the cloth, actually, as well. I'm going to do a bit here and a bit here. I'm being random. I'm not really thinking this through. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. I'm going to do a bit down here as well. I'm thinking it might be darker green down at the bottom. Perhaps maybe it would be thicker sort of foliage down at the bottom. That's my thought. But I'm just, as I say, just throwing some colours at it and guessing. Okay, next, now these areas haven't joined together. That's fine, it's not my aim. I'm going to now go for green. I'm going to pick these olivey greens that I really like. I think this one is a bit pale, but I'm just going to grab some anyway. It's really quite, and I'm going to use it here now, in between this yellow and blue. Just filling in some of these little gaps up here, no, particularly here. Let's grab a bit more. You do need to keep sort of refreshing. Now, I have found that most papers take pastel quite well, and you can layer up and blend and things like that, just like you can with pencil, which is rather nice. But if you've got fingerprints on your paper, which I'm bound to have, it can sometimes stop it taking quite so well. So you have to be a little bit aware of that. But the good news is, if you do have a fingerprint and it's made a bit of a mark, you can, I'm going to go for a darker green now, I'm going to go for this one. You can erase that bit that looks a bit weird from the fingerprint and try it again, and you'll probably find the little work once you try again. So it's worth having a go. Erasing the soft pastels erase just like a pencil, in fact easier. They probably, I don't tend to use really vibrant colours, they will probably stain just like some pencils do, but they are easy to remove. A bit more just here and here. I'm going to go darker again in a minute. Just going to put a few areas of this lighter one a bit lower down. There. Now darker. We've got this one. No, it's quite dark. Use a bit in here. And it's just so easy to sort of smudge and blend. Behind that, I'm going to not use this dark colour. I'm actually going to use, I'll show you in a minute. It's too difficult to explain while I'm doing something else. I'm going to put quite a lot of this down at the bottom half here. I might even put some darker bits down after, but you can layer up just like pencil. So if you're thinking, oh, I want that bit to be a bit darker, you can put a bit more on of a darker colour and it will sit on top or mix up with it. I'm still using the same colour at the minute. Quite liking this sort of dark background behind this lower bit. Yeah, just checking my messages from my boy. He's okay. He said he gets like this, he's really thirsty in his lesson and he's tired and he's falling asleep, but he couldn't find the water. He usually gets water from a certain building and it's gone because, you know, new term, all that, so he couldn't find any water for his bottle, which is a shame. But unfortunately, if his lesson doesn't finish early, he'll have to go straight off and get his train. I guess he might be able to fill it up at the station. I think companies are supposed to let you fill your water bottle. Oh, is it voluntary? I'm not sure. But I'm sure, I think there's a coster in his station that he uses. I'm sure they would let him do it for him. But anyway, there's a little bit in there. Okay, behind the berries, I don't want to use a dark colour because it will go on those little, all those little white patches that we left on the berries. So I'm actually going to go for the yellow and just try my hardest to put it in between them without going on those little patches. Now, you can do background like this with pencil, but it takes a really long time and a lot of patience and a lot of blending, whereas the pastel blending is so straightforward, you know. Now I'm going to use a few darker colours down here at the bottom. I haven't got any darker greens that are the right shade, so I'm actually going to move and do a few of the, I'm going to do a bit of this brown. I think that one might be a bit, I don't know if that's a bit light actually. It gives us a slightly different tone of green, but it isn't darkening it, so perhaps not the right choice. I don't know how dark this brown is. Well, that's a bit better. Let's use this in a few places. I just feel like mixing the colours up a bit, it just makes it look a bit more interesting. Now I'm going to brush off. Now this is, you need a brush for this. If you try and use your cloth, you will spread that pastel and push it into the paper, so the brush is much better. And this is just a makeup, I say just, someone sent this to me, it's lovely. It's like a makeup blusher brush, it's so soft. I've got two of these actually, one next door for when I do my own work on my own, and one in here, so that's really nice. I'm very lucky. Oh, what I need to do as well is near this owl's head, I didn't go too close to his head because I was worried about getting blue on his feathers, so I'm using a tiny bit of yellow in there just to go right up to the edge. Gives him a bit of a halo, but it means that I don't get blue in his hair. I'm going to do the same there and there. And now I'm going to keep looking. See this bird is a bit yellowed there, but what you can do is you can get your little eraser and just gently take it off, just a little bit. You don't want to do too much or else you'll take off the pencil work. There we go. He's not quite so yellow now, but there it is. I think I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to do too much, you know, just so that the page is complete really. So I am happy. Let me just take this out. I often think it looks better with the darker background, so that does that. But anyway, there we go, all finished. So well done if you coloured along, or if you didn't, I hope that you picked up some tips there for colouring various different things. I know I've probably shown you some of these things before, but I just thought it was nice to have a go again, and it's quite a nice page to play around with really. So I've really enjoyed this series, so I hope you have. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, subscribe and comment. Thank you for watching. Have a super day and happy colouring.